And you've said after 10 years, you've got your brother back.
It's so good. I watch Joe in his commentary sometimes, and I can see he holds back and he sort of second guesses. Should I say this? Should I say that? And there's other people on commentary who sort of go hard, and he sort of stands back. And I think of anyone who's got the right to go hard, it's Joey. And he did that after the Origin. I thought, how good is that? Because the Joey that I grew up with and the Joey that I played football with was that guy who just went out there and just went for it, said whatever he think, didn't give a rat's. And you know, he said that the Blues played dumb. Well, they got off light compared to what he used to say to us sometimes and things that, you know, with his size. Because, see, Joey's a bloke that when he played football, he played very direct. But, mate, he talked even more direct. But the thing about it is his side's won. And no one was harder on anyone than himself, Joey. Like, he was hard. His most ruthless assessments were left for himself. And that's what drove him and that's what drove his sides. And you had success because you had high standards. See, professional sport isn't like a kiddies running carnival. You know, you don't get a ribbon for participation. If you win, you get the plaudits. If you win, you get the trophy. If you lose, you get a big juicy shit sandwich, right? And that's the way it should be. That is professional sport. So I was just talking about, you know, some of the things over the years. I remember once we were playing at Newcastle and we were going through a bit of a tough patch and we're sitting there and we're taking our medicine off our coach, Malcolm Reilly, and suddenly a player got up, you know, and stood up the front. He shouldn't have got up, you know what I mean, because he hadn't been setting the world on fire, and he started to talk about standards. And we all sort of raised an eyebrow like, hang on, was this a bit weird? And Joey goes, sit down. Just sit down. And he said, mate, you listen. You don't talk in this team. Sit down. You're terrible. Right? It was fair enough, right? Yeah. Another time, and I thought when I was writing this story, I saw Hindy talking about Joey's comeback, Game 2, 2005 State of Origin, which a lot of people believe is the best ever Blues performance. When Joey came back from a knee reconstruction, Ricky rushed him in the side. Hindy said Game 1, they went in and they were beaten in Game 1, he said, but our ball work, our lead into the game was just terrible. We were just clunky. Things weren't working. We go into camp for Game 2. They resisted bringing Joey in because he'd just come back from a knee recon, wasn't quite ready. And he said our ball work was just, he said, they were just, it was awful. And he said the confidence was just, you know, it was disappearing out of the squad rapidly. Then suddenly one of the halves had an injury. It was Trent Barrett, had a quad, and Ricky went, okay, well, I'll tell you, we'll bring Joey in. And he said, Joey came into the squad and he said, I was terrified. He said, because I'd never been spoken to like that in my life and none of the other players had. Get here. Where are you? Where's that? What are you doing there? Get the hell over here. What the F are you doing? In the ball work sessions. And he said, one of the early sessions, he said, Joey went across and created a hole when we're doing a bit of ball work against a side. And he said, I missed the hole. He said, I was late on the play. He said, I've never been sprayed like that before. He said, he just sprayed me and stared at me. And he said, mate, if you're not there next time, you know, I'm going to, whatever. And Heidi said, I never missed the space again. And he said, we're all scared. He said, but there was accountability. And he said, but what happened by day 3? He said, I've never experienced anything like it. He said the ball work sessions were absolutely perfect. And he said, I just knew we were going to win. And that's what it's about. It's having a higher standard, right? There were some funny times as well, like Joey would get there and, you know, do sprays. We were used to him at Newcastle. I remember leading into...
Did they still mean something when...
Oh, yeah, you know, when they're... But after a while, like, I'd see them coming, right? And so in 97, a month out from our premiership, the finals that year we won the premiership, Joey turned up at training. He's just in a foul mood and goes, you bloke, you're not willing to sacrifice for success. You aren't winners. You don't want to win. That's the thing. You're so happy just mate. And I said, well, what do you want to do about it? He said, I reckon we should go on a booze ban. I said, rather, you want to go on a booze ban? I said, boys, we all in. Everyone goes, yep, okay. No one drinks till full-time grand final day. We said, right, that's the vow. No problem. So about 5 o'clock that afternoon, I rang Joey, and I could hear this chitter-chatter in the background from here. And I said, where you at, mate? He said, I'm just down at the Burwood at the pub having a couple of beers. I said, mate, what about the booze ban? He goes, oh, I forgot. Another one we played, a couple of years later, we played North Queensland in Townsville, and we won, but we were really, really poor. And Joey hadn't played well, which makes him particularly angry. I was watching him in the sheds and he was storming around. He's just going, mate, when I get in the bus, I'm going to go nuts. So I said, righto, He's sweet. I said, do it. So I went around to all the boys and I said, listen, this is what he's going to do. I said, I've got a plan, right? Let's do this, right? And the boys go, yep. So we get on the bus and Joey walks up the front of the bus as it takes off and goes, mate, we were ridiculous today. We were that bad. We've got to get back to doing this. And the boys go, Joey, we don't want to hear it, mate. Come on, sit down, mate. You're wrong, mate. Sit down. And the harder he fights, the boys going, sit down, sit down. So finally he just sits down. As he sits down, I get up and I stand up and I go, boys, we were ridiculous today. Right? These are the standards. And I repeat everything he does word for word. But everyone starts going, actually, yeah, you're right. So we're driving along. Joey stands up, says to the busser, pull over, and just gets off the bus and just walks off into the night.
What makes him such an amazing footy player, but and this has been almost 2 weeks ago that he said this about the Origin team, is that while he's scathing, he expects so much from other players. He leaves the most scathing attacks on himself.
Yeah, he does.
Doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
He's really hard. He was really hard on himself as a player.
Yep.
I think he's hard on himself as a media commentator. Yeah. And that's probably why we don't see that other side of him.
I think he's very soft on himself as a media commentator. He'd actually rung me up one day and he said to me, mate, how do you reckon I'm going? I said, mate, you can't be good at everything.
The Grill Team, Gus, MG, and Matty Johns.